The following is an address by Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell on Grenada's preparedness to deal with COVID-19.
Fellow Grenadians, the world is faced with a likely pandemic, and despite the valiant efforts of the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of National Security, through frontline staff at our air and sea ports, it is most likely that novel coronavirus known as COVID-19 will reach our shores. The government of Grenada assures you that all the necessary measures are being taken to safeguard the people of this country against the coronavirus outbreak. However, we must also accept our individual responsibility for helping to curb the potential spread of that disease. The outbreak has now spread far beyond the People's Republic of China, despite decisive actions taken by that country's government. The latest situation report from the WHO, the World Health Organization, indicates that the disease is now present in 64 countries outside of China, with close to 89,000 cases confirmed globally. With cases now being reported within the region, the reality of the situation is no longer if COVID-19 will reach our shores. It is more likely simply a matter of time before it reaches. Government's measures must therefore be complemented by individual actions to follow the advice of the health experts as it relates to proper cough, sneeze, and hand washing practices. Accepting individual responsibility in this scenario might also require some temporary adjustments of our cultural norms and religious practices so that we do not enable the spread of the virus. I must commend, therefore, the workers on the front line of this effort, the staff from the Ministry of Health and workers at the various ports of entry for the remarkable job they have now done in implementing the heightened health screening measures to ensure the safety of all of us. I have acknowledged their dedication to serving their country, but I also feel compelled to do so publicly so that you are aware that everything possible is being done to prepare our country and our people. Notwithstanding their committed efforts, the changing global scenario means the time has come for us to do more, and we are committed to doing just that. I stress here again the need for you, the people, to be fully engaged in this fight against this virus. Intense discussions have been taking place among relevant stakeholders, and government has now made available an additional $2 million to bolster our COVID-19 preparedness actions. We will not spare any effort in ensuring that all necessary measures are in place to protect our country, and therefore we stand prepared to increase that figure if it becomes necessary as the situation unfolds. These are significant resources, and we must demonstrate full accountability in all that we do. The Minister of Health will provide greater details on some of the most specific actions that are being taken to safeguard our country. But we are investing heavily in the procurement of additional medical and other supplies to further equip our hospitals and community health centers and outfit the treatment centers that are being established. Schools are also being provided with significant supplies, such as thermometers, to help identify symptoms of the virus. There is also ongoing training of medical practitioners, other frontline staff, and at-risk groups, including hotel workers and educators. To complement these and other critical actions, several policy-level decisions have been taken. A COVID-19 coordinator in the person of Dr. George Mitchell has been appointed to manage the activities of all stakeholders as they relate to the disease. The Sanitary Authority has been activated under the Acting Chief Medical Officer and is responsible for directing and mandating all technically related activities relevant to COVID-19. The Ministry of Health and the Ministry of National Security are further strengthening our border control efforts, ensuring that all measures related to post health, surveillance, screening, and other necessary procedures are continued. Additional supplies of personal protective equipment, known as PPE, are being purchased to ensure that persons on the front line of the preventive effort are properly protected and their level of exposure is minimal. We have also obtained thousands of masks, some of which are being distributed to our students in China, and arrangements are being made to transport the remainder to Grenada. The Ministry of Education will work in collaboration with the Ministry of Health to ensure that teachers and students are equipped with basic information about preventing the spread of the virus by practicing proper cough, sneeze, and hand washing techniques. Similar exercise will be conducted with elements of the private and public sectors. Sisters and brothers, additionally, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECC, has indeed indicated that it is prepared to procure equipment on behalf of the member states as part of its contribution to the fight against the virus. Carriacou also has agreed in collaboration with the cruise ship industry to a set of minimum protocols for cruise ships. We are confident that through such collaborative actions, we'll minimize the potential impact on our country and region. This combination of local and regional measures will help to strengthen other critical actions, which have so far proven effective in keeping the disease out of Grenada. The Importation Transmission Watch announced last week remains in full effect, and we are strictly enforcing the mandatory quarantine of persons entering Grenada from at-risk countries. Just yesterday, for example, a private aircraft was denied entry because of the potential exposure of some of its passengers. It is clear that government will not intentionally put the people of this country at risk for any reason at all, despite propaganda to the contrary. The time has clearly come for us to move past the ban imposed on persons specifically coming from China, because the disease is now present in more than 60 countries around the world. The threat becomes even greater now because evidently not all countries are enforcing strict measures to protect their borders. Therefore, we must continue to do all that is necessary to safeguard our country and our people. I must reiterate that while government is fulfilling its responsibility to prepare, it is our individual actions relative to personal hygiene and our interaction with each others that will be most effective in curbing the spread of the virus. Therefore, it is important to pay attention to tips shared by health agencies, such as washing our hands thoroughly and regularly, covering your mouth and nose fully when you cough or sneeze, maintaining a safe distance from persons who are sneezing or coughing, staying at home if you feel unwell, and seeking immediate medical attention if you experience flu-like symptoms. Sisters and brothers all, particularly the parents, relatives and friends of our students in China, I assure you that the government of Grenada continues to care about their well-being, particularly those who are located in Wuhan, the epicenter of the outbreak. The evacuation of students is one of the actions being considered, but we must carefully examine what is most feasible, the logistics of evacuation, the risk and the benefits. At this stage, we are satisfied that our students are well looked after and that everything is being done for their protection. However, we also accept that this is a fluid situation and we will continue to remain engaged in all aspects. Government, through the ambassador and the embassy in Beijing, continues to provide all possible support to the students during this critical time. It must be noted here that recent WHO statistics show that while the virus is spreading in other regions, the People's Republic of China appears to now have it under control, showing decreasing number of cases daily. The government of Grenada acknowledges and thanks them for their efforts and look forward to continued engagement and cooperation with them through our embassies here and in Beijing. Before I conclude, I must address the troubling issue of misinformation and propaganda. Some elements in our country are deliberately using these tactics to incite fear and panic at a time when persons are already concerned about their health and mortality. There are credible sources of information available, and I encourage you all to use those credible sources. In fact, I want to echo the sentiments of the Director General of the WHO, who spoke recently of an infodemic, given the rapid spread of misinformation via social media and other platforms. He said, and I quote, "Our greatest enemy right now is not the virus itself. It is fear, rumors, and stigma. And our greatest assets are facts, reason, and solidarity and care," unquote. Therefore, my fellow Grenadians, be guided by the facts of the science, not the sensationalism of rumors and selfish behaviors. Sisters and brothers, we are facing a potential national crisis like other parts of the region. And that requires all hands on deck, working genuinely towards a solution that protects us all. As Prime Minister, I have abundant faith in the resilience of this nation and its people. We have faced many medical challenges in the past, from dengue fever to the outbreaks to Zika and chikungunya. Together we have all faced natural disasters. On each occasion, through unity, focus, and discipline, we have always come through better and stronger. Through the grace of God and your resilience, we will win again. The God whom we all serve will continue to richly bless our nation and protect us all. I thank you.
The proceeding was an address by Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell on Grenada's preparedness to deal with COVID-19. Prime Minister to address the nation on Grenada's preparedness for COVID-19. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2020, I am Rikisha St. Louis. Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell will address the nation tonight on Grenada's preparedness for COVID-19. Dr. Mitchell's address will be broadcast on GIS television at 8 p.m. As a precautionary measure, Grenada has expanded surveillance to cover a number of countries. These are China, Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea, and Italy. At the level of CARICOM, a framework has been established for an expanded Bureau of CARICOM heads of government to marshal the resources necessary to increase their capacity to contain and manage outbreaks of COVID-19. During a special meeting in Barbados with the cruise industry on Sunday, CARICOM officials settled on a regional protocol that establishes minimum standards as to what is expected from the cruise industry and CARICOM member states. A subcommittee for the expanded bureau has also been created. The Smiles Center for Girls has received its first gift. The items were donated by the Embassy of the People's Republic of China in Grenada. A short handover ceremony was held at the embassy on Tuesday. Public Relations Officer for the Ministry of Social Development, Housing and Community Empowerment, Delroy Louison, has the details.
The Child Protection Authority of Grenada, under the auspices of the Ministry of Social Development, Housing and Community Empowerment, was on the receiving end on Tuesday as the People's Republic of China donated a few appliances to the authority. They include a television set, a washing machine, a refrigerator and a microwave oven, and will contribute to the outfitting of the Smiles Center. Smiles is a residential rehabilitation and training center designed to provide at-risk girls not in conflict with the law an opportunity of a better future. It is intended to provide care for no more than 3 years and will accommodate no more than 25 girls. Speaking at the handover ceremony, Ambassador Extraordinaire and Plenipotentiary of the People's Republic of China to Grenada, Dr. Zhao Yongshen, says his embassy is happy to contribute to the well-being of children.
Today I am pleased to donate somehow plans to Smiles Girls Center on behalf of Chinese government. The donation included one washing machine, one refrigerator, one TV, and one microwave. I hope it will help to improve the facility for the center.
In expressing thanks to the Chinese Embassy, Minister for Social Development, Housing and Community Empowerment, Honourable Delma Thomas, is hopeful that the Center for Girls will achieve its intended purpose.
We are hoping that Smile will not be a place just to dump children, but for the real cases that need our assistance, they will be able to be rehabilitated and be treated in a good way at that new center. On behalf of the government and people of Grenada, we want to thank the People's Republic of China for another commitment. You have supported us in many ways in the past, and you have shown that this bilateral cooperation is good not only for Grenada, but for the both countries. And so we want to thank you for continuing to assist us.
Chairperson of the Board of the Child Protection Authority, Mrs. Ann David Entwine, alluded that anticipation is building for the commissioning of the center.
This center, which will benefit some of the young ladies in our country who need that special support, should be opening and be having its very first residence quite soon. As we have already heard, it was officially launched for the public, and there was a lot of excitement, and everyone is very much looking forward to this day.
SMILES is expected to begin operation in April. For the National Report, I'm Delroy Louison.
Thank you, Delroy. This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break. Week-long training seminar for project officers concluded on Tuesday at the Olympic House, Montrouge. The project, which was organized by the Government of Grenada and the Ministry of Finance, was geared towards increasing the rate of project implementation in Grenada. Alistair Bain of the Department of Economic and Technical Cooperation says the 7-day workshop gave participants the opportunity to explore different aspects of risk management and project appraisal.
The participants over the days would have looked at various techniques, especially using Excel spreadsheets for project appraisal and financial analysis of projects. We would want to place on record our appreciation to the facilitators, Professor Fernando. In fact, both professors are Fernando Fernholz and Fernando Munoz of Duke University.
The participants were given certification of accomplishment that were issued by Duke University. Mr. Bain is optimistic that the participants will use the knowledge received to aid in successful project implementation.
We are hopeful that going back to their offices, going back to the various projects, some of the techniques that they would have learned over the last 7 days can now be applied in appraising new projects and can be applied also to existing projects, so that even the persons who are not directly involved in project appraisal, they would have a better appreciation of what happens behind the scenes as projects are brought to life. And that is the intention, so that whenever the opportunities have become available, these persons have the knowledge and they have the capacity to apply to the different functions.
One participant, Aluka Dublin, spoke with GIS about his involvement in the seminar.
So it kind of gives us a better idea of how to appreciate projects in the public sector, especially, where it's not always about profit and loss. Yes, it would be good if the country could benefit financially, but sometimes economically the economic benefits might outweigh the financial benefits so much that even a project that is not making money per se, right? But the economy would flourish because you'd have other secondary effects from that project. So sometimes it's not just about the project per se, but the impact. And this course kind of made it a bit clearer for us, and hopefully we can apply it in our everyday jobs.
Finally, in the news, 25 young persons from the community of Mount Horn, St. Andrew are now CVQ certified in general construction, hospitality arts, and other areas. They recently graduated from an 11-month training under Project ACE and the start of a new chapter in their lives. The event was held at Blueberry Hill, St. Andrew. We get more in this Eugenia Peters report.
I grew up very poor in the village of Mount Horn. My grandmother raised me, and we were very poor, so I understand poverty.
An emotional social development minister, Delma Thomas, a resident of Mount Horn, St. Andrew, and its member of parliament, as she addressed the young persons who were CVQ certified on Friday. The minister, in sharing her success stories, said her support for the young persons will continue as they now advance to the job market.
As your parliamentary representative, I will be working with you to ensure that you can reach the highest height. And therefore, I urge you to be the best you can be. Do not settle for just what the certificates you are getting here this afternoon and say, well, I want to be in the Imani, I want to be working in a restaurant. Say, I will go. If you want to be a chef, you can do all that it takes to be the top chef. Because you see, not only academics, sometimes we make it look like only the CXC subject that is important. The skill is also important and sometimes even more important than the CXC subject.
Project ACE targets juveniles, youth at risk, their families and communities. Special emphasis is being placed on life skills, literacy, numeracy skills and small business training. It is sponsored by the Government of Grenada and the Caribbean Development Bank. Minister with responsibility for youth development, Honourable Kate Lewis, used the opportunity to implore the graduating class to make full use of the investment made by government.
Graduates, I want to say to you, and you have said it yourself, you have come to the end of one chapter. Another one begins. We encourage you to make the best of the opportunities presented. Know that you have received your training. You're about to receive your certificates, CVQ certified. You are more empowered to be a better you. You are now ready for the world of work. The government has invested in you. It is now you to invest in yourself.
Project coordinator of the Inspire project, Lindona Marshall, in delivering remarks on behalf of the CDB, says the bank is proud of the decision to invest in the project given the outcomes.
When vulnerable segments of the population are left behind or left out, several things can occur, which may include deepened inequity, poverty and deprivation, as well as increased crime and violence. The bank believes that through the implementation of this intervention, this community, the Government of Grenada, has started the process of preparing vulnerable people to take their place in society in a meaningful, productive, and positive way.
Featured speaker was manager of the SEED program at the Ministry of Social Development and also a resident of Mount Horn, Leonora George Buckmeyer, who shared messages of inspiration to the grouping.
You're no failure. You are no failure. Recognize your value by acknowledging and embracing Psalm 139, verse 14. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Let's say it. I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
The CDB-funded project also entails 3 outstanding major projects, which Project Officer Johnny Kali says will be completed in the coming months.
A kids' playground right in front of the community center, a bus shed on the Green Valley area, and street signs throughout Mount Horn. So hopefully in the next coming weeks and months, we should be able to complete those projects. They're all part of the community development. And I want to thank the Caribbean Development Bank for not just implementing a project in Moncton, but also concerned about the infrastructure development in the community for having these 3 projects. A round of applause for the Caribbean Development Bank.
The graduating class, proud of their accomplishments, shared their journey and future plans.
It's very good getting through the government programs. You get a lot to learn, you learn a lot of experience.
To me, I didn't know if I could have get 2 awards. And then when they called me up, like, my heart could have fallen long if you had a chance.
I never go in a high school. I never thought I could have been there and done that. I feel proud around my friends and my classmates and them. Thank God.
I did the hospitality area and my training was challenging, but I go there and I did my best and I came out victorious. You can see I have an award to show. It was very good.
Project ACE targeted at-risk youth aged 18 to 30 years. From the Ministry of Youth Development, Sports, Culture and the Arts, I am Communications Officer Eugenia Peters.
That story just ended. The national report for today, Tuesday, March 3rd. Let's recap the top story. Prime Minister to address the nation on Grenada's preparedness for COVID-19. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for listening. Until next time.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.